All right, yo, what's up, everyone? How we doing? Break 3167. It's a 2025 Leaf Lumber Baseball Hobby Full Case, 10 boxes total, and it is a team break, which we're all good to go for. This is our second break of this, so I'll read off the same memo that we read off then. Just a heads up for this break, we will be going off of the GTS checklist. They've done a pretty good job of compiling the right teams for each of the players. The cards themselves have no team listed on said cards, just a picture of the jersey for each player. For the multiplayer cards, we'll go off the jerseys for each card and use those teams in a randomizer if said randomizer is necessary. If there's a dual, triple, etc. of all players wearing the same jersey, i.e. Reggie Jackson, Don Mattingly, and Aaron Judge, then that card would go to that team being the Yankees, of course. We'll do our best during the break to say each team for each card, but if not said, sorting team will make sure that each card goes to the correct team going off of that very same GTS checklist. Thanks again for getting the break, y'all. Good luck. So, I got the GTS checklist with me. And, like I said, kind of a breaker's discretion thing, but we're going to do our absolute best to use that checklist and our better judgment to make sure that the right cards go to the right teams. But let's do it. This is a super fun set. All of the bats were shot. They even stole some. They stole some from players' homes, dugouts, just to make sure that they have enough for all these cards. Good luck, everybody. Well, Ace, good luck. Good luck, Kaylin. So it's 4 cards a box. All game used, game worn stuff. So we'll start with Dick Groat. That's 16 out of 45. Dick Groat. Crazy name. One of the craziest names. Dick Groat. That'll go to... God. Pittsburgh. This one, thankfully, a little easier. Going Streaking, 1978, 2 out of 3. Pete Rose. I'll go to the Reds. What's up? There we go. Pete Rose out of 3. Alright, this one is going to have to be randomized. Bill Madlock. Stat Bats. So that is the 1976 NL batting average leader, home run leader, Mike Schmidt, and George Foster, the RBI leader. That's Bill Madlock, Mike Schmidt, and George Foster. We'll grab all 3 of those teams to randomize that one. And thankfully, that one pretty easy as well. Signature Barrel Pudge Rodriguez. That is 2 out of 5. Nice piece of the bat barrel. And auto for Texas. Rangers with the Hall of Famer. That is a sweet one. I said, put that one to the side. Okay. All right, and we'll just do that 9 more times. Those, particular stat bats, George Foster, but like within a couple different teams. Mike Shinoff just played for the Phillies. So we'll grab the teams that those other 2 players played on in 1976. All that message at the beginning is a little more complicated than it needed to be, but we don't want to cover our tracks. Carlton Fisk, all-time enshrined in 2000. That's 1 out of 5. That'll go to the Red Sox. Carlton Fisk for Boston. 2 out of 7, 2005, enshrined Wade Boggs, enshrined as a Boston Red Sox. Even though he wanted it to be Rays. He really wanted it to be Rays. 2 out of 7 on the Boggs. Another one for the randomizer. 1981 Slugfest Quad. 11 out of 12. That is Mike Schmidt, Hawk Andre Dawson, Tony Armas and George Foster. That is Phillies, Expos, not Nationals, A's, and Red. George Foster was a Red. So another one for the randomizer. And these are so cool. Grain of Salt. 4 out of 4 for Yankees legend Don Mattingly. Actual piece of lumber that the card is engraved on. So cool. Don Mattingly, 4 out of 4 on the auto. Super cool. Nice hit. Get some Mets. So Dick messed up his wrist, huh? Wow. Really makes you think, huh? Interesting. Dante Bichette. That is 6 out of 7. I'll double check. It looks like Rockies. A little bit of purple in that jersey. I'll just double check. We have the time. We have an hour, a full hour for this break. So yes, that will be for Colorado. Out of 7 on the Bichette. Nice. All-time and Shrine Tony Gwynn. 2 out of 6. We played for one team, folks. San Diego Padres with Mr. Padre. Sick one there. Nice. Little bat barrel piece. Tim Raines. 5 out of 5. Oh, let's see if we can come up too. Let me show you. I want to put this one to the side. We'll grab a thicker sleeve for it after the break is over. But this one we can take care of. That's 5 out of 5. Tim Raines for the Expos. Now Nats, but there you go, man. 9 out of 10. Signature sticks, dual patch, and auto. That is Jose Canseco and Tony Armas. No Big Mac. Messed up. Bash brother and a half, I guess. There you go. A's with the dual patch and auto. 9 out of 10. Sick. Okay, Kayla. My damn mouse. There we go. Shouts out The Lonely Island. If you haven't watched that Bash Brothers musical they did, that shit is sick. Ooh. Very heavy. Very dense. Ooh, maybe a booklet. We will find out. We will see. Yeah, there's a booklet. That's sweet. Mike Piazza hitting Newts. We'll double check and see if that is Mets or Dodgers. I think most of this stuff is Mets, though. That is 7 out of 12. Mike Piazza hitting Nukes. That is Mets edition. So Mets New York N on the checklist will be for the New York National League. That's obviously the Mets. So Mets with the Piazza hitting Newts out of 12. Frank Taveras, that is 7 out of 20 for Pittsburgh. I'll say the booklet for last. But Frank Taveras, Pittsburgh, 7 out of 20. Kevin Mitchell, it's a fun one. Our first 101 of the break. Grain of Salt 101, Kevin Mitchell. Double check, I'm pretty sure it's Giants though. Grain of Salt, Kevin Mitchell. That is, in fact, for San Fran. So 101, our first of the break, going to the Giants. Now let's see what we got. Today's lineup. This will all go to a team. Or not. Okay, this is going to be a nasty one. Just off of these three. Rod Carew, Robin Yount, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Thomas, Chipper Jones, Manny Ramirez, and Thurman Munson. That's a... I couldn't even tell you the word. It's going to be a 9-way randomizer, essentially. That's a nasty one. That'll be at the very end of the break that we randomize that. That is 3 out of 8. That's what I'm saying. See, someone knows ball here. That's a nasty one. That's a sweat right there. That's a sick booklet. We'll do that one at the course at the very end of our break of all of our other randomizers. That should be everybody's homework for tonight. And then watch a pop star never stop popping. Box 5. Bake McBride. That is a name right there. 1 out of 5. I'm not too familiar with Mr. McBride's career, so I'll take a peek here. Bake McBride has Montreal, so now going to the Nationals. 1 out of 5. Joe Pepitone should be Yanks. 12 out of 40. Let me grab some more of these. Pepitone. Yes, that is in fact New York A. That's New York American League. Yankees with the Pepitone. Looks like, yeah, one more for the randomizer. Damn. Lumber Awards. That's a pretty sick one, though. 6 MVPs. Joe Morgan, Fred Lynn, George Foster, Thurman Munson, Rod Carew, and Dave Parker. So I'll check, obviously, but that is Reds, Red Sox, Reds, Yankees, Twins, and Pirates. Lumber Awards. That is, where is, there it is, top right there, 5 out of 5. And Dave Justice, that is Braves edition, 7 out of 40. Signature stick, skill patch, and auto. Not shaken, not the shaken Bay, not the Talladega Nights. All right, second half, let's get to it. Rogers Hornsby, that is 2 out of 15. Summer of Slam. That's, I think either Reds or Cardinals. I'll double check. Rogers. What in the hell? Rogers Hornsby, Summer of Slam. St. Louis, Cardinals are on the board. Out of 15. Chili Davis, 2 out of 5. No, that'll be A's. Chili Davis going to, or it's Yankees edition, Chili Davis. Yeah, A's. Chili Davis, A's. Might be. One more for you, Caitlin. Out of 5. All right. This one, thankfully, a little easier. Fall Class X, 1992. Roberto Alomar, Joe Carter, Dave Winfield, David Justice, Deion Sanders, and Terry Pendleton. That is Blue Jays and Braves. This one is just thankfully a Google search. Yeah, Braves, Toronto, touch 'em all, Joe. You know, 92 World Series. So that'll be randomized between just the Blue Jays and the Braves. And nice Joe Torre, May 21st, 1961, first career homer. So we will go back to 1961 to what team he played for. I want to say it's Atlanta. Joe Torre. That's how we do it with those. Yeah, if it's a particular season, particular team. So Joe Torre. Holy shit, guys. What are those orphans? Yeah. Milwaukee, now Atlanta Braves, 1961. So that will go to the Bravos. Nice 2 out of 2 auto. Got a couple nice ones here. There is a method to the madness, people, I promise. Braves are going to keep it going. All-time enshrined. Or only played for the Braves. Chipper Jones, 3 out of 5. Nice dual patch. Chipper. And Orioles on the board. All-time enshrined. Brooks Robinson, 14 out of 15. A couple of go to third baseman. Might be number 1 right here, depending on who you ask. Damn. That's another sick randomizer. 1993 Slugfest. Barry Bonds, Juan Gonzalez, Ken Griffey Jr., and Frank Thomas. I think it's still Pirates edition of Barry. So what we'll do is we'll just randomize the names. Obviously, they'll go to each team. But 23 to 35, Bonds, Juan Gon, Kid, Big Hurt, and first career homer. Wade Boggs, 3 out of 5. Did his first career homer as a Boston Red Sox. That will go to Boston again. For the show. Shouts out our guy Wade. 3 out of 5 on the Boggs auto. I said. $16 out of 45. Harold Baines. Looks like White Sox. We'll double check though. Should be South Side. Harold Baines. Yeah. Chicago A, Chicago AL. White Sox out of 45. Travis Fryman. Not too familiar with Mr. Fryman's work here. That's 21 out of 45, so we'll check. The Fryman. I'll go to Detroit. Tigers, 21 out of 45. And I know the one team this guy played for. Vintage 15 out of 15. Mickey Mantle. That will be Yankees. He's pretty good. Damn, Boston cleaning up. Grain Assault, Carl Yastrzemski. That is 3 out of 3 on the Yaz. Nice at Red Sox. They're so sick. Penultimate box. Another heavy one here. That is another booklet. Ooh. We'll do our best to hide it. No peeking, y'all. Wow. One of my guys. And the Braves keep it going. Going streaking. 2011. 33 game hit streak. For Atlanta Brave Dan Uggla. His name is Dan Uggla. Wow. That is Braves edition of Dan the Man. Out of 12. One more Tim Raines. That one a little higher number, unfortunately. 5 out of 7 Tim Raines. So we'll go to the Expos, though. Rain Man out of 7. And I'll actually use our friend to hide that booklet, because I think it's a autograph booklet. So Chris Chambliss, signature sticks. That will go to the Yankees. It's 28 out of 30 on the dual patch and auto. I literally just saw his name on the checklist. All right, and booklet. Let's just open it up and see who it is. Okay. All right. So Johnny Bench, Steve Garvey, Eddie Murray, Pete Rose, Dave Winfield, Robin Yount, George Brett, and Reggie Jackson. Signature sticks, octuple patch and auto. That is awesome. That is 4 out of 5. Second booklet of the break, and that is a dope one. We'll take a look at it. For the eBay, you can see all the way back here. You can see the whole thing at once, but that's awesome. Again, we'll randomize that 8 ways. That was sick, though. So again, after this 10th and final box, we'll take all of our cards that we have to randomize. We'll enter them by player name. We'll reference the checklist and the actual cards themselves, like we have been. After it's all said and done, make sure everything goes to its right place. But things are getting going. No, it's kind of a lot. We're going back and forth between checklists and the products. So thanks again for being patient, y'all. On a fun rip, though. Got one last box. Good luck, everybody. Starting off with a Frank Chance, 5 out of 15. Old Frank Chance here. Has an old jersey. No number. No nothing. So Frank Chance. Chicago N, that'll be Chicago NL, that'll be the Chicago Cubs. So Cubs out of 15 with the Frank Chance. This one, thankfully, a little easier. Felipe Alou, 21 out of 45. That's Giants. One of the many Alous that played for them. Giants on the board for sure. And, of course, one more for the randomizer. Willie McCovey. Oh, no, actually. Easy peasy. I take it back. That is all Giants. Whoops, all Giants. Barry Bonds, Willie McCovey, Will Clark, Jeff Kent, Jeffrey Leonard, Gary Matthews, Johnny LeMaster, and Matt Williams. That is all Giants. No need to randomize that one. That's 11 out of 12 on the octuple. And last one for Seattle, Grain Assault, 2 out of 15, Edgar Martinez. Nice up there. Nice last one of the break for Seattle. The Hall of Famer, Edgar Martinez, to end it. Okay. Got some work to do here. So give me just a second, y'all, to set all these up. Thank you. Thank you. It was a super fun one. I do like the Leaf Lumber. I've liked the Leaf Lumber for a minute now. So thanks, y'all, for filling this one out. Like I said, I know it's a little much, but I do appreciate y'all rocking and rolling with us. Let's make sure get everything in the order that we need to. Okay. So once again, we're doing just the player names, and we'll do the checklist and do the cards, or the art on the cards themselves. So that is Madlock, Mike Schmidt, George Foster, Schmidt again, Hawk, Donaldson, Armas and Foster, and then Jesus, the nine is gonna be, this is a nasty card. This is a crazy one. Past and present. Carew, Yount, Shohei, Judge, Griffey, Big Hurt, Larry Jones, Manny, and Thurman Munson. No offense to Thurman Munson. Hey, Hall of Famer, former MVP. Like, you couldn't get like Pudge, like Yachty. It's kind of got like Joe Carter, not Joe Carter, like a Johnny Bench maybe. I don't know. Shouts out Thurman Munson, you know. And then that is Joe Morgan, Foster, Carew, Lynn, Munson and Cobra. Nice Dave Parker. Shouts out Dave Parker, one of the most underrated baseball players of all time. That is going to be between Braves and Blue Jays. That's an easy one, thankfully. And then Bonds, Gonzalez, Griffey, and Thomas. And last one. Jesus, all right. Bench, Garvey, Murray, Rose, Winfield. I do love that Pete Rose has that Hit King inscription on his auto too. It's so sick. Yount, Brett, and Reggie. Right? 4 and 4. Okay. We're going to switch screens for the YouTube so you can see a little bit of the madness going on behind the screens on it. So switching right now, brace yourselves. There we go. So, by the way, this is the checklist that we've been using. This is the GTS. It's on their website if you want to look there to double check and reference. You can. But let's grab the eBay side. Latoria is sick. Those green results are so cool. All right, so there's our dice. We got our lists. So the triple stat bats: Bill Madlock, Mike Schmidt, and George Foster. Then the quad Slugfest 1981: Mike Schmidt, Andre Dawson, Tony Armas, and George Foster. And then today's lineup: Rod Carew, Robin Yount, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Thomas, Chipper Jones, Manny Ramirez, and Thurman Munson. The MVP Lumber Awards: that's Joe Morgan, George Foster, Rod Carew, Fred Lynn, Thurman Munson, and Dave Parker. And then Fall Classics 1992, that's Blue Jays and Braves. And then the Slugfest 1993, Bonds, Gonzalez, Wangon, Ken Griffey, and Frank Thomas. And then the last one, Signature Six, Octuple, Johnny Bench, Steve Garvey, Eddie Murray, Pete Rose, Dave Winfield, Robin Yount, George Brett, and Reggie Jackson. We're going to roll the dice and randomize all of these 1 in 5, 6 times. Not too shabby, thank God. Thank God. 6 times, starting off with the triple. Madlock, Schmidt, and Foster. Good luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Of course, it's going to be Bill Madlock. I will obviously, again, I will check to make sure what season, what team he played for is 1976. So, Bill Madlock, the name on top there. 6 times for Slugfest 1981. Mike Schmidt, Andre Dawson, Tony Armas, and George Foster. Good luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Nice. Tony Armas, the name on top. A's with the Armas. Congrats. All right. Today's lineup: 9-way randomizer. 6 times. Good luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Robin Yount. Nice. That is going to be Brewers winning a sick booklet. Congrats to Milwaukee. All right, 6 times for the 6-way Lumber Awards. Joe Morgan, George Foster, Rod Carew, Fred Lynn, Thurman Munson, Joe Parker. Excuse me, Dave Parker. Dave Parker. Good luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 times Joe Morgan. That'll be Cincinnati Reds winning that one. Congrats. 6 times Braves and Blue Jays. Good luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Touch them all, Blue Jays. You'll never win a bigger randomizer in your life. Toronto, the name on top, taking the Fall Classics in real life and on the break. Well, there you go. 4-way, here we go. Quad Slugfest 93, Barry Bonds, Wangon, Ken Griffey, and Frank Thomas. Good luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The kid, Ken Griffey, 1993 at Seattle Mariners. Congrats to the Mariners. All right, craziest one. Signature Sticks Octuple Auto 4 out of 5. That is Johnny Bench, Steve Garvey, Eddie Murray, Pete Rose, Dave Winfield, Robin Yount, George Brett, Reggie Jackson. Let's see if Robin Yount can do it again. Good luck. 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6th and final time. George Brett, the name on top. Royals winning that sick booklet. 4 out of 5. Octuple patch and auto. Okay. Congrats. Congrats to all my winners. We'll double check as well, just to make sure. Shouts out Billy Joe Armstrong. Bill Madlock in 1976 played for the Cubs. So the Cubs, the name on top. Nice. 4 batting titles, by the way? This guy won 4 batting titles, not in the Hall? What the what? All right, voters, do your thing. All right. Sorry, a little history lesson for myself. Let's switch for the YouTube side one last time. Sorry, that's some bad precedent for Luis Arias. How do you win 4 batting titles and not make the Hall? That's fucking crazy. Whatever, man. Okay, let's switch screens for the YouTube side. Now we're all back to normal. So now we know for sure, for posterity's sake, that Bill Madlock and the Cubs will take our first randomizer. Stat bats out of 30. Tony Armas and the A's won the Slugfest 90-81. Today's lineup. Again, crazy card. Rod Carew, Robin Yount, Shohei, Aaron Judge, Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Thomas, Chipper Jones, Manny Ramirez, and Thurman Munson. Randomized to that man right there. Shortstop, Rod Carew for Milwaukee. Nice hit there. Brew Crew out of 8. Lumber Awards. That'll go to Joe Morgan. That's Reds edition, the 1975 NL MVP. Fall Classics going to Toronto. Name on top of the Fall Classics out of 25. Slugfest 93 going to the kid, Ken Griffey Jr., Seattle. And once again, sick one. Signature Sticks, 4 out of 5. Johnny Bench, Steve Garvey, Eddie Murray, Pete Rose, Dave Winfield, Robin Yount, and George Brett with Reggie Jackson. Going to George Brett, Kansas City Royals. Sick one, out of 5. All right. That's the break. Thanks again, y'all. Seriously, appreciate it. This is a super fun one. Let's go through the rest of our cards here. Starting off with our game used bat relics, our lumber. Felipe Alou out of 45. Travis Fryman. Harold Baines. Joe Pepitone out of 40. And out of 45, Dick Groat. One card out of 20, Frank Tavares. Most of our cards out of 15, Frank Chance, Mickey Mantle. Brooks Robinson, all-time enshrined. Summer of Slam, Rogers Hornsby. Hitting Nukes, Mike Piazza. Going Streaking, Dan Uggla, that's out of 12. And so is this. Lumber Club, 11 out of 12. Willie McCovey, Will Clark, Barry Bonds, Jeff Kent, Jeffrey Leonard, Gary Matthews, Johnny LeMaster, and Matt Williams. No need to randomize this one. Going to the Giants. A little Bay Area love there. Out of 7, Tim Raines. Dante Bichette. The all-time enshrined Wade Boggs, front of the show. Out of 5, all-time enshrined Chipper Jones, Chili Davis, Bake McBride, Shake and Bake. And out of 6, all-time enshrined Tony Gwynn. Sick one there. Again, we'll grab a thicker sleeve and thicker top loader for this one. That is so cool. 5 out of 5, Bat Barrel, Prime, Tim Raines. Sick hit right there. All-time enshrined, another one out of 5. That's Carlton Fisk, Boston. And the second lowest number card of the break, that's 2 out of 3, Pete Rose. Going Streaking. Gets his own card there. That's Reds. All right, let's go through our autos, besides the ones that were randomized here. So, Grain of Salt out of 15, Edgar Martinez going to Seattle. Grain of Salt out of 3, Carl Yastrzemski, Boston. First career home run, Wade Boggs, 3 out of 5. That's done in the Boston Red Sox before that will go to the Sox. First home run, 2 out of 2, Joe Torre. That's a sick card. Done as a Milwaukee, now Atlanta Brave. So Braves get the Joe Torre auto. Our lowest number card of the break, nice, a 1 of 1, Kevin Mitchell. That will go to San Fran. And one more Grain of Salt, 4 out of 4, Yankee legend, shave those sideburns. Don Mattingly, nice hit there on the auto. And some sweet patch autos. Signature Sticks out of 30, Chris Chambliss. That'll go to the Yankees. Signature Sticks out of 40, Dave Justice dual patch auto going to the Braves. Sick dual patch and auto. Again, no need to randomize this one. 9 out of 10, Jose Canseco and Tony Armas going to Oakland. Nice hit A's. And for the very first box, Bat Barrel and auto, signature barrel, Pudge Rodriguez for Texas. The former MVP and the Hall of Famer for the Rangers. And that's our break. Thanks again, everyone. Seriously, appreciate y'all. We will see you in a bit for our last break of the evening. It's time for some wrestling. WWE Universe coming up in about a half hour or so. Thanks, y'all.